And then the next day, Scott Rudin sent me an email and said, "You want to play Scott Finch on Broadway?" You know, I think in some ways, because I played kids before, I was so relieved to get to also play an adult.
There was no question. There was not a moment where there was anybody else possible after I saw him. Yeah.
May I tell the story? I heard they were doing a Yiddish Fiddler on the Roof, directed by Joel Grey. I said to my agent, please get me an audition. Tell them, one, I have worked with Joel Grey once before, which was true. Tell them, two, I speak Yiddish, which was not 100% true, but was almost true. I had studied Yiddish. So it was an audition. I had to go in, and I didn't think they liked me, but I think they did.
I was sitting on one of the audience members' laps. I mean, they were pretty close. You know what? It's really nice because then, as an actor, right? I mean, to act is to do and to be, right? So that's it. So there's no mask. You can't put on a mask because then they won't believe you. So it was actually comforting, I think, to just to be able to be and to be able to look into some people's eyes.
My first thought was, please don't let it be an impersonation that's required, because I can't do that and I want to be in this play. So when he sent me the play, I opened it up, and Lucas Nath, the playwright, has stipulated, please don't do impressions of these people.
I wanted to bring through to the surface all of his heart and his feelings and you know, everything that he's going through with everybody else. And I didn't want to just play a trope that, you know, the gay sidekick that we're so used to these days. You know what I mean? It's we're past that. We've moved way further than that. I just want people to know that I don't need to be singing in order to play a part and to be authentic and human in a role. All I need are the words and a good story.
When I first got the audition notice, I was like, what? Nobody's going to cast me as Laurie in Oklahoma. But, you know, once I saw that it was happening at St. Anne's Warehouse, I knew it was going to be something different. And once I got into rehearsals for it, I understood that Daniel was trying to learn something that we hadn't maybe learned from this beautiful text.
Well, there's a real tug of war between his confidence and insecurity. You know, I think he's a passionate fella who cares a lot about what the things he cares about, and so the fear of losing those things really drives him, and that sort of complexity really landed with me.
Because I knew we weren't doing the movie. We're doing the core of the story of the movie, that a man is conning people to get what he wants and falls in love in the middle of it, and that's the conflict. So I knew we were doing that and not the movie.
She makes Beth seem quiet, and that is a feat not to be easily handled. It's so much fun having permission to be someone so larger than life possible. Brooks is the funniest man on the planet, and he sets the comedy bar so high that it's unobtainable. Everybody should go see Beth Level, and everybody should just go see The Prom.
Well, that's it. When I was a kid growing up in Detroit, I was turned off by Bob Dylan. I was a vocalist, and so I'd hear him doing his thing, and I'd be like, this isn't for me. So to come to these songs with sheet music and these rediscovered sort of arrangements, I was like, this is Dylan? This is beautiful. And to sing it my own way and to try and to be able to interpret it without the constriction of, you know, do it like Dylan was really, it was a wonderful opportunity.
To have kind of bit the dust and then be revived by literally hundreds of millions of people is really breathtakingly exciting, and yeah, I'm really happy to be here. And furthermore, I'm thrilled and so grateful that the Drama Desks have recognized our production. Oh, I relate to Michael a lot. I think we all do a little bit. You know, I can say that like more recently, I was invited to a gala. I was seated at a table with very uptight people. And the conversation felt so forced, and there were about 3 or 4 instances where I was like, Will you excuse me? I have to use the bathroom.
The theme of who I am at heart is an African woman and an artist and a teller of stories. That's what I like to think of myself, as a teller of stories and giving life to, people we don't normally see.
Richard Nelson. Truly. I mean, I love Vanya, I love Chekhov, but Richard had such a unique take on drama, period. I mean, he and I have been having conversations for 40 plus years about theater and where it was headed and how to find a modern connection to the classics. And the work that I've been doing with him with the family plays over the last 7 years before that was completely in that same ballpark.
Oh, I remember Van Halen. I mean, I remember when they broke up. I remember the Hot for Teacher video. Much to the chagrin of my feminist mother. She was like, "What are you watching?" And I'm like, "This is a great video." So I have a special place in my heart for David Lee Roth and Van Halen.
Oh, I always like being on stage with someone else. It's like being an only child. I'm like playing by myself. But I mean, I love the story. I love the character. I love the play. But it gets lonely.